a few years ago, I talked about the game Skyforge, and I'd actually put it in a top 5 most anticipated MMOs of whatever years it was. And it was 2016 and 2017, I think. Doesn't really matter. Who cares? Let's give this game an honest review, and let's talk about whether I was right or whether I was wrong about Skyforge. Spoiler alert: I was wrong. Let's get into it. This video is going to have to be done in a little different fashion because there's no way I could continually play through content in this game, and I can't play through it again. I made the mistake of playing through it and not recording the first time, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through positives, and then we're going to go through negatives. Okay, let's go through positives. The combat is so freaking good for about 2 minutes, and then you'll never want to play it again because it's really not that good. Although it's kind of cool that they have this combo system with the actual combat, and they have all these cool things you could do. I guess that kind of looks cool and wears off after about 6 seconds. The game itself is fairly pretty. The graphics are nice, as you could see. They clearly had a nice budget and a nice development team that did take care of their graphics. And there is voice acting, and lucky for you, I did get you a nice little clip of that. So let's go take a look at that voice acting for you.
I'm Zentara. Like you, I'm a warrior, and ready to fight until I run out of opponents. But the Council of Elder Gods sent for me and asked me to do something I'm really good at.
Is it pausing in the middle of your sentences?
Pantheons are fighting for a chance to join the space program. I'm working on a system that would keep everything under control, so it doesn't turn into a savage feud.
As you can hear, it sounds like the voice acting was done by maybe 2 guys or a bunch of friends that got drunk over the weekend. They're like, bro, we could definitely do this. We could make a game and make it sound so freaking cool. Or it was a idea, one or the other. It's some of the worst voice acting I've ever heard in a game. It sounds like they just learned how to read last week. Okay, let's get into the negatives now. While the combat is fun for about 2 seconds, it's not after the most short period of time you could possibly imagine. That's about all I could say. Yes, that looks cool. Nothing like clicking down and mowing down the same enemies in the same amount of time. And the questing is absolutely terrible. There's really no point in the story for this game, because there doesn't need to be a story. There's really no reason for it to appear. This is just an example of a great way to tell a story. You just go into some stupid zone, and in the most linear way of progression, you go from point A to point B, and that's it. And you grind the same boring mobs over and over again. That's really the whole questing system. Very intuitive. Very immersive. Because all you're going to do is, every time it puts you through an instance, you're going to go through a different zone, and it's going to give you very similar linear progression every single time. Your job is to get from point A to point B, no matter what island you're on, no matter what you're doing, it's always going to be the same. And the mobs are very, very similar in the way that they'll be presented to you. It's very rare that you have a game that holds your hand in the questing so much, but I guess they think you are probably a moron because it's like your mom when you're trying to cross the street. It's like, oh no, come on honey, I'll show you the way. You won't be safe on your own. And you're right, I wouldn't be safe on my own. I'd probably take this sword and drive it into my own heart because of how terrible your awful freaking combat system is. While also talking about combat, I should probably say that you can switch between classes at any given moment. And it's nice because in total there are 11 classes, and a couple are restricted to free players. But if you ever have an issue in this game, you could just go straight to the cash shop and whatever issue you have can be solved. And it's a shame because look how pretty this game is. It's got a nice sci-fi theme to it and nice sci-fi ideals. But oh my gosh, is it just so freaking awful and boring. It's just like boredom grind simulator. And I love grinding in MMOs. That's my jam. But holy cow, they couldn't make this much more boring. As you can see, we've completed 80% of our quest. I'm not saving the captives because frick them, I don't care about them. Let's go eliminate more vermin. And then when you do get to the bosses, it's just like the same mobs again, but they have more HP. Look how... Let's see how difficult this fight's gonna be. Oh no, they're all dead. Oh no. Oh, and I can press E now and they'll be super dead. Oh, and then I could AoE again. Like I said, the combat's fun for like 36, 69, 420 seconds, blaze it. And that's about it. In terms of a UI, it's probably the worst UI I've ever seen. Although, I don't want to go too far because I've seen some pretty terrible UIs, but this is... I made a top 5 best MMORPGs a few years ago. This is probably one of the top 5 worst UIs I've ever seen in my life. It's so freaking stupid and pointless. It's nice that they show you what your combos are just in case you forget, so you don't have to remember anything at all. And there is PvP in this game, and that might be its only saving grace, perhaps. And like I said, you want to change class, you could change it right here. I'm not going to because I couldn't give two craps less about doing it. All of the classes play pretty boring. Although the Cryomancer is probably not as terrible because you get the nice ranged attacks and whatnot. And there is nothing truly quite like the essence of desperation of giving daily login rewards. It's like saying, "Why won't ya fuck me, Jerry?" Great, fine. It's great because this game could probably be a wonderful open world MMORPG, but instead of letting it be open world, they restrict everything to you. You can't just go out and explore, there's really nothing to explore. Because, oh, what's that? Oh, I want to go that way, that looks cool. Oh, no, you can't. Mommy's back to hold your hand and bring you back to safety because we textured out this whole environment, but you can't actually experience it. Because why would you be able to do that? Frick you. You're not allowed to experience the game. It is one of the most linear MMOs I've ever seen. And also, oh, it's dank, this island. And also, having said that, I don't know how this game could even be considered an MMO. It's like considering Bungie an MMO. As you see, we've seen no other people except in the main, like, questing area, whatever you want to call it, in the ship, which is just stupid. The only time you're really going to see other people, at least at the lower end content, is going to be in PvP. But how they can consider this an MMO is beyond my comprehension. There is nothing MMO about this. The world is useless. Yeah, you make this nice pretty world that nobody's allowed to even explore. You make combat that's the most repetitive thing ever. It's like playing an Elder Scrolls game except you can't explore. And that's one of the selling points of an Elder Scrolls game. It's the fact that you can go out and you can explore and you don't get turned around like that song Turn This Beat Around when you're freaking trying to go explore and see what's going on. It's absolutely baffling to me that this game is something I thought was going to be incredible. I was so wrong. This game is awful. There's no redeeming qualities of this game. This may be one of the worst, and I'll put this in quotations that you can't see because you can't see my hands, and I'm actually not even going to pick my hands up. It's one of the worst MMORPGs I have ever freaking experienced. And how it's an MMORPG is behind me. Behind me. Might be behind me too. Because as soon as I'm done with this game, I'm going to uninstall it. And for some reason the water effects are really weird. When you're in deeper water you could kind of see a trail. But when you're in shallow water you think you might splash a little bit. But you don't. I don't know why. They spent all of this time creating such beautiful graphics. And they forgot to do that. So I really don't know what else to say about this game. Don't play it. Don't waste your time. It's awful. You might have fun for the first 3 seconds, then just be like, holy cow, I've never played anything this absolutely freaking boring before. And PvP is fun for about 3 seconds, and then it's not. It just isn't. There's no redeeming quality about this game. I'm so sorry I told you to play it years ago. Maybe that's why that video got dislike bombed. But don't play it ever. Do yourself a favor. Bye.